Welcome to another episode of From the Hip. I'm Johnny the HWP, and this is Starla, the Hip World Hemp Bus. This week, we'll be covering part 2 of our interview with Paul Stanford. And if you missed part 1, of course, it'd probably be popping up on a screen somewhere around there. And maybe you can find the link. Go to our YouTube channel and be sure to subscribe and like, and that way you can follow along and find out all of the cool things we're doing, all the people we're getting to interview, all the places we're getting to go, all the things we're doing to help grow our beautiful, amazing hip world together. Thank you again for joining in, guys, and I won't hold you any longer. Let's get from the hip.
So that's a lot of my path so far. So my wife and I are the only ones that work in our clinic anymore. And we continue to help about 120, mainly Oregon, but also Washington State patients, working with 2 doctors in a Portland office that used to be the petition office to legalize marijuana. The corporate raiders couldn't take it because it's part of the political committee. And so we continue. I've rented it since 2008, and it's been the medical marijuana clinic for us since that takeover in 2016. And so here is Elvie Masika. So Elvie was the first woman and the third person to win a case and get awarded medical marijuana from the federal government, grown at the University of Mississippi's experimental pot farm outside of Oxford, Mississippi. Then it
$1 million a year at that time. I don't know now how much they get for that garbage.
And then it's processed into 1-gram cigarettes at the Research Triangle in Raleigh, North Carolina. Then they would send it to her eye doctor. And they would give her a tin about that big with 300 1-gram joints a month. So they gave her 10 1-gram joints a day from 1988 till what, Elvie? About
just 3 years ago or so.
2023, 2022, more than 40 years, more than
3 full decades.
300, 10 big joints a day.
You be
But
eaten or smoked?
It was bunk weed, really. It was tasted like old Mexican. But Elvie is historic. She was the High Times honorary judge at the first High Times Cannabis Cup in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. And she won the Freedom Fighter of the Year from High Times. What year was that, Elvie?
No, that was in 88, 89.
No, 88's when you won the court case. It was after that. Yeah, it was like, 97, 90, something like that. But she has made a big, and she toured around the country. And only once has she ever been busted. But they let her go, and the cop had to give her the pot back the next day. Did you meet Joe Hickey here?
Yes.
I met Joe in Kentucky in 96 because I'd met Woody Harrelson in 95. And Joe put up Woody Harrelson at his house and had a hemp conference in the downtown hotel in Lexington. And the next day, Woody went out and planted 4 hemp seeds in Lee County, Kentucky, and was arrested because he brought out the media and brought out the sheriff, and they arrested him when he put the seeds in the ground. And he went to trial and eventually was acquitted when his case was sent back a second time to a jury trial. And so he worked with Woody Harrelson. All the hempwood cabinets are just beautiful. Yeah. You know Greg too?
Yeah.
He was on our show there probably just after that Southern Hemp Expo, like 3.5 years ago. But he was in Nairobi, Kenya. They had this Kenya hemp conference that was sponsored by the National Industrial Hemp Council. And Greg Wilson was there, but his hempwood samples had not shown up yet. So I had a box of hempwood samples that I was bringing. Yeah, so I was able to save the day at least. So we had a little sample to show people. But you got your whole deck made out here in big flooring displays. I have little tiny sample boxes that I show to people. I've been doing that since 2020. I had Greg Wilson on my show. I do a cable access television show called Cannabis Common Sense. So I had him on the show right after that Southern Hemp Expo.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yep. We just love the product. We were going to put in hemp flooring, and so I got a hold of him. We started with the floors, and then through time we managed to order all the components to build the cabinets.
That's fantastic.
It's been all across the country with us.
Well, this is a great demonstration here. It's amazing. I wish everybody could see that cabinet
I love it.
and all your varieties. Cool. Well, good work. It's beautiful. That cabinet, I really like that. And the floor.
We got Hempitecture, hemp wool insulation.
I just happened upon the Hempitecture's headquarters outside Jerome, Idaho. I was going to the NOCO Hemp Expo in Colorado, and it was like halfway down. So my wife behind you, she found a place called Sleep Inn, a hotel. We stayed there. And in the morning we drove out, and Hempitecture's headquarters was right there beside us. It was really like, what? Don't remember ever hearing it before. And so I go outside the hotel and I look there. It's on the big side of the building. Hempitecture. Well, we stayed at the right place.
I always try to ask if there was one thing you can think of that they would want to know. Is it, I should have said this, I should have said that.
Hemp is the oldest and most productive crop, and it is the one crop that can help save the biosphere and promote life on Earth and eliminate toxic petrochemicals, plastics, deforestation, world hunger. We need hemp. We need to restore hemp. I think people have co-evolved with hemp for over 25,000 years, and hemp has changed us and we have changed hemp, and we need that evolution to continue because things are changing faster and faster. We need to restore hemp. I had some other pictures. You want me to show those pictures I was showing you a while ago? Probably the coolest one is this one at Willie Nelson's house in Maui. I was able to grow for Willie Nelson. I first met Willie in 1990 when he was touring with the Highwaymen. This Kentucky lawyer and activist named Gate McGobraith introduced me to Willie. And I became his grower, and I gave him and his band dozens of pounds of marijuana right here. I would occasionally fly into Austin and bring him 1.5 pounds because I could legally fly out of Portland, Oregon. I still can legally fly out of Portland, Oregon with 1.5 pounds of flour. This is my wife on the bus here over at Bee Cave here in the Austin area. I met him. He was touring with the Highwaymen, which was kind of a country music supergroup with Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson, and Waylon Jennings. So I met him in October of 1990 when I was first importing hemp paper and hemp fabric from China. That's when right around the time I met my wife as well. I got licenses to start growing for his family and his band and his roadies starting in about 2007. And they said he wanted to remain an outlaw, but he became a medical marijuana patient after his buses got stopped in Arizona. And the fact that people had cards meant they didn't have their pot busted and taken away because there was reciprocity for Oregon cards in Arizona. So then he decided he wanted to get his card too. And so I've been his grower, his band's grower. It's really an honor. They changed the law in Oregon in 2016, so you can't be an out-of-state patient. So I haven't been his grower since 2016. But I was from
Cannot be an
2010.
patient. I need to know this.
Yeah, you have to be an Oregon resident right now because the legislature passed it. We've helped many, many patients with autism and children with autism through our clinic. Some of our doctors have gotten in trouble with the medical board for helping pediatric autism patients. But my wife here and our oldest son are both on the high functioning spectrum. She didn't really realize it till our son was diagnosed. So that explains that. So she definitely uses it medicinally, and I'm blessed to continue to be able to grow it. I didn't tell you I won a bunch of awards for the cannabis I've grown.
Yeah.
Have I ever? I'll show you some pictures.
Absolutely.
I would start my plants indoors in little cubes and then bigger pots in January. So by the time The end of March come along, I would put them in from 5 to 20 to 25 gallon pots, and then in mid-May, I would put them outside, and I would put them at about 6 to 10 feet apart. Here's an example. So these are plants that started in January and went indoors. Yeah, outdoors in mid-May. I just put mine in again in the outdoors. But let me show you what they look like a few months later. So they're already 5 to 6 feet tall. That fence there, by the way, is a 12-foot tall fence, and this is just standing between just two plants.
That's just two?
That's just two plants. And so those are both beefcake variety. I grew about...
So like Christmas trees, bigger.
Yeah, they're bigger than most Christmas trees. They're bigger, when you have a seed plant, it will grow like a Christmas tree but clone plants grow more like big balls. They just grow in all directions. They're already about 4 or 5 months old. Now I have this, have you ever heard of Ngaio Belam? He did a show called Cooking with Cannabis on Netflix.
No, I've heard of Cooking with Cannabis.
Here he is, he's 6'4", and that's right beside one plant. That's probably about 2 or 3 days before harvest. So everything in front of, so he's 6'4", and everything in front of him, you can't even see the whole plant that's right there. All that stuff at the top of the screen is just one cannabis plant.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so,
have you ever?
This is in Portland. I've got pictures of you there in that garden with Ngaio back in during the Portland HempstaLK Festival, not the Texas one. Have you ever heard of Ed Rosenthal? He's a cannabis guru of cultivation. Or have you ever heard of Jorge Cervantes? Another cannabis guru. Yeah, he's in Spain now. That's a little bit of my indoor garden. Sure. So I won a bunch of awards for the quality of my cannabis. The Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards and the Siskiyou Cup and several others. And so let's see here. This is just my wife and I between two plants there. Turn your seat. And those, I'm just over 6 foot. So they're 12 or 15 feet tall. Yeah. So that's about it. I could go on and on with the picture show, but I'll spare you. All right. Well, thanks for having us. Nice to meet you. Keep up the good work. If you're in Oregon, stop in and see us, and I might call you up to do some internet event.
Wow, guys, can you believe that? Like, what a conversation that we get to have with someone like Paul Stanford, one of the OGs in the hemp industry, one of the people who have made it so that you have any bit of rights in the medical marijuana or your recreational marijuana, one of the people who helped pave the way in this industry. And to me, an icon because of some of the other things he's done, like with helping Jack Hare with The Emperor Wears No Clothes. And so we get to share this hemp knowledge, and you have people out here pushing like that. And I just think it's amazing that we get to share those kind of conversations. You and I get to have one-on-one moments because of our little hip bus, and we get to share and break down those barriers and find out more about people like Paul, what they're doing in the hemp industry and what they're doing just to help our world be a little more happy, a little more wholesome, a little more peaceful, a little more hip. Thank you guys again for joining in. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course I'll catch you out there. Stay shiny. I